Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Village of Hanover Park, and it's always does my heart good to see our officers in uniform at our meeting, and I do enjoy that, and I do support your work very smartly. Hopefully, I'm saying that right. But you do good work, and it's appreciated by not only me, but by this board. I'm going to tell you before I start the meeting that recent announcement that our crime in Hanover Park is down 22% this year. If that's not something to celebrate, police chief tells me, we can't do this every year, Mayor. We just can't do it every year. Isn't that right, Chief? We keep doing it. What's going on? You're hiring good people. That's all I know. And they stand before us. So with that, Thursday, March 3rd, 2022, 7 p.m. Call the meeting to order. And Christy, if you would call the roll, please.
Absolutely. Trustee Porter?
Here.
Trustee Kemper?
Here.
Trustee Bancoli? Here. Trustee Frigie?
Here.
Trustee Husani?
Here.
And Trustee Gutierrez?
Here.
You're all present.
Very good. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you all. Have motion to accept the agenda?
So moved.
Second. Mayor? if I
Yes.
could have a minute. If I could bring the board's attention to two items that are on the agenda, 7A8 and 7A9. We had an error in the packet where two of the signature pages on the contract got switched on these two contracts. We had emailed you, village board members, as well as on the dais, you have a hard copy of the contracts and the new signed pages, so we do have properly signed documents for you, but we wanted to let the board know before we continued with the meeting.
Okay, it was just a switcheroo?
Correct.
Yeah, they're both on consent, I see, so thank you for that. With that, I am,
I'd like to remove 7A3 and 7A4 from the consent agenda.
and I was going to ask those two be removed or tabled until the next meeting. There's some, I'm not completely satisfied with the language. So if we can just remove those from the agenda, they'll come back when the language is correct.
Okay.
So if you want to remove them from the agenda or table them, someone would have to make a motion to do that.
I'll motion to remove them from the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
So that's to remove 7A3 and 7A4 from the
Correct.
agenda?
Isn't that what I just asked for? when I
You
said
asked for a
remove?
table. You asked for a
No,
table.
it's to remove them from the agenda,
I thought consent.
from the consent agenda.
You said from consent. I want to,
Okay.
we're taking them off then. Okay. So, everybody, any questions on what Dave suggested, the switcheroonie on those?
Well, that's a different item.
That's a different item?
Right, so,
It's all under acceptance of the agenda, correct?
Well,
there's a, what's the motion, Christie?
To remove the items off the consent agenda completely.
seven.
To remove them off the consent agenda or to remove them from the
Oh.
agenda?
From the
From
agenda.
the agenda completely.
And that's items what?
7A3 and 7A4.
Okay. And I would also like to remove 7A1.
Well, first of all, you have to take care of one motion at a time.
Okay,
Okay.
so on that motion,
We have to vote.
Oh,
So we had it, so.
do you call the roll,
Yep.
please?
Trustee Kemper?
Yes.
Trustee Bancoli?
yes.
Trustee Frigie?
Yes.
Trustee Husani? Yes. Trustee Gutierrez?
Yes.
And Trustee Porter?
Yes,
Okay. Trustee Bancoli?
Thank you. Could I also remove 7A1
From consent.
from consent? Thank you.
Okay,
And then also 7A9. And that's all.
okay. Christie, call the roll?
So, no, you're.
Oh, we got to, I'll second.
No, you don't need a motion or a second to remove something from the consent agenda. So it just goes down to the regular agenda.
Sounds
Any trustee can do that.
Do we take a roll, correct? moving on.
Right, so now you're in presentations.
Ah, this is the fun part. Swearing in Police Officer Ivan Martinez.
Did we vote on the motion to accept the amendment?
Oh, no. Okay. No, they never did, because they just removed it.
Yeah, just, was there a motion for a second to
Yes.
accept these ones? Who made the-
Kemper and Freedy.
Would the family like to join Ivan?
Kemper and Freedy again.
This is a family-oriented town. We work hard to make sure our officers are fully trained. We have police
Can I write it?
certification,
You could do it.
Okay.
have the right
That's how,
tools,
okay.
with the goal,
Well, they
he
did
comes
vote.
home to his family tonight.
So
If he works nights, he comes home to his family during the day. I don't know whether you work the days or nights, but
Got it.
we support our officers. And I do want you to go home to your family at the end of shift. And we expect you to be fully trained in how to use the tools that we have on the job. Absolutely. Are you reading this or am I? No.
Can we have a microphone?
Maybe the mic.
I don't want anybody to misunderstand me reading here. Okay. Ivan Martinez, welcome aboard. Has joined the police department on February 3rd, 2022. Ivan comes to us from Chicago Police Department, where he served as a police officer since 2016. During this time with the Chicago Police Department, Ivan served in various roles within the patrol division. Ivan was recognized for his dedicated work while with the Chicago Police Department, having received multiple department honorable mentions for recovered firearms and narcotics. Most recently, Ivan was assigned to the Community Safety Team, which works to engage the community and provide timely response to critical incidents. Ivan is a graduate of Wilbur Wright College, where he received an associate degree in general arts. Ivan is bilingual, speaks fluent Spanish. Ivan is joined tonight by his wife Maria, his children Ivan and Caitlin, and other family members. Welcome aboard. Thank you. We have would you like to? Who would like? Right here. Raise your right hand. Thank you. I state your name.
I, Ivan Martinez,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of police officer
the duties of the office of police officer
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Welcome aboard.
You got it.
Let's get a photo together. Uh-oh. Wait a minute.
Thank you, man.
Nice cat. Wonderful.
Thank you all very much. You're not done. You're not done. You must meet the board. And I have a question for you. Socks or Cubs?
Cubs.
All right. This is a tough town to work in. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Congratulations, welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard, Officer Martinez.
Ivan? Good.
If I could now please have the members of the 2021 Code Enforcement Unit please come up front.
You should have enough right there.
Well, it's my pleasure tonight to be able to publicly recognize our code enforcement unit. Our unit was recently recognized and presented with 2 awards from the Illinois Association of Code Enforcement. The IACE is a statewide association which was established in 1993 to address the needs of property maintenance, housing, and code enforcement inspectors across the state of Illinois through training and advocacy. The association issues 2 awards annually, which include the Agency of the Year Award and the Code Enforcement Officer of the Year Award. In 2021, our Code Enforcement Unit earned the Code Enforcement Agency of the Year Award. This award is presented to one agency in the state of Illinois that has demonstrated that they have made significant accomplishments in the field of code enforcement within the past year. Hanover Park's Code Enforcement Unit was recognized for the implementation of safety measures in its partnership with both landlords and residents to keep the rental residential program running efficiently during the pandemic. While many code enforcement units paused operations during the pandemic, our unit continued to conduct inspections to ensure that tenants were being provided the basic safeguards and living conditions to help those tenants safely navigate their way through the pandemic. The rental residential program in Hanover Park is multifaceted and focuses on inspections to ensure safe and sanitary living conditions for all tenants. Additionally, it includes robust training and guidance for landlords renting the property. Hanover Park has nearly 2,000 single-family rental properties that are inspected every 2 years and over 1,300 individual units, rental units contained in the multi-unit buildings. These 1,300 units are inspected annually. An interruption of this program could potentially lead to life safety and unsatisfactory living conditions for some residents and would risk losing partnerships with our code enforcement unit that have been formed through the years. To keep our officers and tenants safe and to keep the program running through the significant threat of COVID-19, the unit implemented significant changes to procedures, such as requiring masks for residents and inspectors, requiring that residents remain in the largest room during inspections, and leniency, such as allowing extended time to address violations and opportunities for rescheduling appointments. To further aid property owners, the unit developed a community resource guide listing agencies that provided COVID-related assistance to homeowners in the community, and in several cases, provided Habitat for Humanity applications to residents for additional assistance. Also, the crime-free housing training that is required for landlords was moved to a virtual format to ensure that no certifications expired during the pandemic. Because of these implementations, all aspects of the rental residential housing program continue to operate at peak efficiency with no loss of productivity throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. Additionally, the IACE named Code Enforcement Officer Peggy Carrillo the Code Enforcement Officer of the Year for 2021. This award is given to an officer who's gone above and beyond a call of duty in addition to their normal day-to-day job requirements. Recipients of this award consistently serve as a good example for this jurisdiction and peers, as well as practicing solid ethics and professionalism. Officer Carrillo began her career with the department in May of 1985, starting as a community service officer. In 1999, the Code Enforcement Unit was placed within the police department, and Officer Carrillo was transferred there. Since that time, she has worked tirelessly to ensure that property maintenance standards are met and that living conditions within rental properties were satisfactory. In 2009, the village implemented the rental residential licensing program, which required that all properties pass inspections using the standards of the International Property Maintenance Code. Officer Carrillo was tasked with managing this single rental properties within the village, which have grown from 400 to nearly 2,000 throughout that time. Managing this program requires a high degree of organization and a strong work ethic, both of which she possesses. A typical day for Officer Carrillo can include up to 10 inspections, followed by detailed reports for each inspection. She also makes referrals to social services for residents in need that she interacts with during the course of her duties, and she serves as a valuable resource person for other employees of the police department in the area of code enforcement and property maintenance. During her career, Officer Carrillo has certainly made Hanover Park a better community in her efforts to ensure safe and sanitary living conditions for thousands of residents. Her passion and dedication to the field of code enforcement and to the Hanover Park community were recognized with the presentation of this award. In closing, I am extremely proud to be able to publicly recognize all of you for this honor, and I thank all of you for your hard work and dedication to the village and its residents.
This code enforcement has made a difference in Hanover Park. When we took on rental residential program to make an environment safer and more quality for those who rent in our town, we had some tough landlords, and we fixed that. And this group, and Peggy has been at it a long time, serving our town nicely. First 2 years, I had to go to those meetings with the owners. And then, I forget who was there, whoever was in charge, and saying, oh, by the way, the mayor's in the room. They were all shocked, and I explained to them the value of their properties will be better. The integration of good work has resulted in this award tonight, and I'm so pleased that you're all here to be recognized in this way. And Peggy, I know you're planning on retiring. That'll leave a hole, but there's those next to you are going to pick up the slack, and it'll be fine. You have one of the finest supervisors to work for, Mr. Hoffman, right there, and this village and this board couldn't be more proud. And I asked, are we going to be in a photo together? Sure. Okay. So before we take our photo, if you would each take a walk down the board and meet the board and shake hands, and they'll show their appreciation. Additionally, hey buddy, good job. Congratulations. Thank you. Good job. Congratulations. We're going to have a pile together here. We're going to have to turn left and right. Here, hold this in the middle. Okay, thank you all. Thank you all. Keep up the good work. Very nice. Okay. Public Works. TJ, you have someone with you? Are you going to speak? Or am I? We have the 2022 Public Works Project of the Year Award, Historical Restoration.
Give the mic.
Preservation of less than $5 million, presented to the Village of Hanover Park. TJ, would you like to say something?
I would. Let me step over here if you don't mind. Yeah. I'm way better in front of the podium. I'm extremely proud to announce that the village has received this award from the American Public Works Association. During a COVID year, the village board had the vision to say that we want to create something new in the community. And we were extremely fortunate to be given the go-ahead to start building a fresh start in Hanover Park, building something new that hasn't been done before, literally a fresh vision in the community. And I cannot thank the mayor and the village board enough to give me an opportunity to be part of that conversation. And in fact, we were so proud of it, and the project was such a resounding success that we submitted for an award. Now, for those of you that may not know or may not remember, this is on the south side of the tracks in an area that, with derelict homes, abandoned properties, we were able to acquire those properties. We were able to take where the original metro station was, that people may not know, and take that property, turn it into a proper park, take the property across the street that was dilapidated and falling down, and very much a component of our code enforcement division, as they helped try to restore the property, but then ultimately we acquired it, and we tore the properties down and turned it into a beautiful plaza where we had our tree lighting, our first official event there this past just a few months ago. And we've been recognized by the American Public Works Association for this project. In addition, this was for the branch. We are now, because of winning at the branch level, we're now being submitted for the chapter level to win for the whole Chicagoland region. And then if we win at the Chicagoland region, we'll be submitted for potentially a national award for this project. So it's something we can be very, very proud of.
So this plaque could get bigger.
Indeed. We might need two people to hold it. But if I could just take one quick second and say in particular, an absolutely enormous component of the success of this project was due to Dave Shaw, the assistant village engineer. Dave was there every day working with the contractor, working with the engineer, working with the underground crews, working with the utilities. This project had more moving pieces than I think any other single engineering task that I've been involved with in my career. There were so many moving parts and so many contingencies and so many things that can go wrong. And just as an example, by the time it comes to me, it's pretty wrong. Something's really gone bad by the time somebody brings it to me. And I was going to Dave and saying, why aren't I hearing from you more? I'm expecting more problems. And he had it handled. He had it understood. It was a fantastic project, delivered on time, delivered on budget. Every single part of it was a success, and in very large part because of Dave.
Wonderful.
Let's get a full.
Thank you, sir.
Who is the camera?
Mayor, you gotta move to the left.
Scoot over to be center.
Perfect, you get to
Yeah, get under the,
We gotta be squared away.
Thank you.
All right. Very good. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Say hi to the board.
Truly.
Mayor, sir, TJ just announced he's a Cardinals fan.
okay.
Very good. Town hall session. We have one person for town hall.
Yep, our
Mr.
friend Joseph Catalano. He's gonna come on up. Thanks for being here tonight, Joseph.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Lisa, hi. I mainly came here was for the neighbor house next to us, which is abandoned now. Well, they have I guess they were ejected out of the home because they had no running water, no electricity. They haven't had garbage pickup forever. Most of the garbage is in front of their garage. It's been sitting there since they abandoned the place. And the place looks like it's ready to implode. Got trees growing out of the foundations. I mean, we've brought this up many times. We've called code enforcement many a time about this. And all they could do is slap a ticket on there, which, do they pay or not? Does it do anything if they don't do nothing, you know? And the basics probably was done at one time where they would get the son and he would cut the grass.
Hey, Dan,
But there's no one there anymore. And
would you take a moment and, you could probably talk an hour about the
oh, well, I mean, there's a history with that place before we even moved there, which was over 20-some years ago.
Well, our supervisor of code enforcement is here.
Right?
He's just running out the door.
Mm-hmm.
If you would take a moment and speak with Dan Hoffman,
Oh, sure.
okay?
But I would like to bring this up to the board that I would like every member here to drive down and look at the home at 7360 Princeton Circle Drive. Now,
I don't know which house.
everyone's home isn't perfectly impeccable, but everyone in the neighborhood pretty much does a good job of keeping their place up. And this place never was kept up. And it's totally falling apart. And garbage was just left there, lots of garbage. It looks less now because it's kind of like self-compacting. And all that's going to do is bring rodents, and it's a health hazard. And I just bring up to everyone's attention. And there's other areas like this in the neighborhood. If you go around, if you go through the neighborhood and look at it, you know, you could tell the homes that are abandoned. And it's an eyesore. And, you know, when I first moved here in Hanover Park, I was like, wow, this is really a great town. And something happened after 2008. And it's just like here and there, and it's just a horrible eyesore. And these things need to be looked at. Works, you know, I mean, you had that area, you say, on the south side of the tracks, come back over on the north side of the tracks and go through these neighborhoods. You know, no one has that perfect house that you see on TV, you know, but overall, everyone keeps their home up pretty damn well. And I'm just trying to say that this house particularly that's next to us, I hope nothing explodes because we're right next to it. Our friends, the Gibsons, who are on the other side, and they were like, I think they're like the first residents ever on that block. Yes. And they're just, I know they've had a lot of complaints about that home as well throughout the years. And now that there's no one there, I just want to know if the bank that controls it during this whole summer, someone's going to have to pay for taking care of the landscape. You know, the backyard is just is overgrowing. Right now it's not, but it will be. And so I'm just bringing up, if everyone really cares about our neighborhood, not just that home, there's other homes as well that are that bad. But I think some should be addressed about it. I know it's hard. There's a lot of laws, like you can't go in people's properties and this and that. But to a point, I think, because it affects all the neighbors. Everyone that's keeping their place up, it's hurting them as well. All right?
Mr.
Sure.
Kyle, I want to thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
just take a moment.
I know the neighborhood well. I used to live on Coventry. And the house next to where I lived on Coventry, that one's abandoned too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay. And who would you like me to speak with? You said it.
Hoffman, he's got his hand
Oh, okay, great. Thank
But
you.
only one hand.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, President's report?
It's you.
That's me. I will share, my time has really been consumed recently with, the collaboration and cooperation with our communities to the east and west along the railroad, concerning the, merger of UP, or, CP, Canadian Pacific, and the Kansas City. Enormous amount of time, as has staff. Juliana's put a really yeoman's effort into that effort. Additionally, the legislators are in session discussing the the bills before them. One of great critical need for Hanover Park is the local government distributive fund. I've been, with Remy's help, pulling together the numbers. Hanover Park since 2011, and they started chipping away at our share of the local distributive fund. The gap is like $22 million, and I think the time has come for us to be strong and get with our legislators, and I have, many of them, make sure that this bill gets passed. Talked to Fred Crespo today. He said the governor's totally against it, which doesn't necessarily surprise me, but for 6 years, we as a board and the staff has done an excellent job of holding back on costs to the residents. We have not asked for more dollars for 6 years. We've kept our levy flat. We can't do that forever. And if this can be passed, the component would be even at 8%, which is short of the 10% that which is our money. But even at 8%, that's $1.6 million. For us to inure that kind of money in a year, we'd have to raise taxes on the property owners 12.5%. Correct, Remy? We're not going to raise property taxes 12.5%. We need the support from the state, and I've been pretty adamant about that. With every council of government is on board in Northeast Illinois, and I'm beyond praying for success. I think it takes action, and I've been quite busy with that. So with that, there's a lot I can speak to, but I'm very proud of our community. Our recent press release I signed off on, Hanover Park has been acknowledged. Did I lose the police chief? We've been acknowledged for a reduction in crime of 22%. That doesn't happen overnight. That's good programs in the police department. It's quality leadership that this board supports. And I want to thank this board for their support for the quality that we have in our staff, in our police department, in our fire department. Eric, I got to throw you under the bus too, because we have good work. That recent fire in Bartlett, we were out there. Our top line engine, or truck, was there dumping water continuously for I don't know how many hours. But because we invest as a board in our equipment, in the maintenance of our equipment, there were no breakdowns. Is that correct? If there was a breakdown, I'd have heard. But I'm very proud of the things that we're experiencing today and how we're managing them. I think our community is well served. And so with that, I'll move to approve by unanimous vote items on the consent agenda.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Items 7A2, 7A5, 7A6, 7A7, 7A8, 7A10, and 7A11.
Point of order. Is this where we would normally remove items from the consent agenda as it's stated here on, because we always do it above.
Yes.
And here it says
You
is
can
where
do
we
it here, too.
should move it. We can remove them here from the consent agenda. Okay.
Yeah, we try to do it up front so that, we're all set, I believe.
But we have two opportunities.
Right.
Because I used to do it this time, and then
Right.
I was
Right.
told.
And I think this is the time on the agenda to do it, but
Okay.
some people do it earlier.
Well,
Okay.
when we accept the agenda, I think I like doing it up front, and then we're all set. With that, 7A1?
Oh, we got to vote?
No, you're still considering the consent agenda, 7A2, 7A5, 7A6, 7A7, 7A8, 7A10, 7A11. There's a motion and a second,
Yes, sir.
so you need a roll call.
Christie, the roll, please.
Trustee Bancole? Yes. Trustee Prigi?
Yes.
Trustee Husani? Yes. Trustee Gutierrez? Yes. Trustee Porter?
Yeah.
And Trustee Kemper?
Yes.
Very good. 7A1. Move to pass a resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement forming the Stop CPKC Coalition and share costs not to exceed $100,000 to represent the common interests of the parties related to the merger of the Canadian Pacific and Kansas City Southern Railroads, and authorize village president to execute the necessary documents.
So moved.
Second.
We have motion. Do we have a second?
Yeah, we have a second.
Oh, okay. Very good. So we have motion and a second. I'd like to say that, as I said earlier, I've been really working on this. The 8 communities have been now joined by DuPage County, and we're all pitching in equal amounts to try to support heavy freight coming through our town and the impacts of that. Whether solutions are underpasses or overpasses, those are making everyone nervous because the addition of those would probably destroy their downtowns as they exist today. So from Bensonville to Elgin, including all the communities along the way, we have this coalition. We had a press conference, and I was pleased to represent the village at that. Any questions?
Yes. Okay, so I'm just going to 7A1, sorry. My first question that I wrote down is, are all the communities each paying 100 grand?
Yes.
Up to 100 grand?
Yes.
Okay. Does the 100 grand include the EIS? Like cost for the EIS? Because when you read through the different ways that the merger may negatively impact Hanover Park, it says that we're expecting the EIS in June. Is that correct?
Yes. Well, right now it's a work in progress, so I think that's in order. So.
But does the $100,000 that we're allocating to this, is the EIS what we're conducting, is that included, or come June, is that another?
I can't ask that specifically. I can get you an answer on that.
Okay.
Because I think it's a part of the package. You know, we hire folks, an attorney, and that's all in order. A part of that is reimbursement by CP. And so there's a whole package put together and continuous work being done on it. This is the beginning.
Right.
And, you know, we're not asking for all this, so the responsible parties will need to, we presume, reimburse us at the end. And when it goes before the STB today is having hearings. And so there'll be opportunities for, to represent our needs and our wants and our impacts at that point. So I'm feeling pretty good about where we're at, and I expect our costs to be covered so that we're not, you know, suffering. Anyone, any other questions?
Yeah, so you said that we would be reimbursed by CP. What would be reimbursed? What are we being?
Well, our costs, you know, I don't have the magic balloon, so to speak, but I would expect our costs, and that's part of the process, to be reimbursed.
For the EIS or for attorney fees or what? I mean, I guess I'm just trying to figure out.
There are costs to engage all this.
Right.
It's not something we ask for, so part of our position is to seek reimbursement for our costs.
From CP?
Whoever,
If I
would
could,
assume it's from CP.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I can interject, but just a couple of things real quick. I want to remind the board, though I'm sitting here, Village Manager Juliana Mailer is on the phone, so she can hear the meeting and can respond to some things. As far as part of the agreement, I don't know if this completely answers your question, but we're paying on an hourly rate for the services that we're getting from the attorney up to the authorization of $100,000.
Okay, so the $100,000 is solely for attorney fees, our portion of attorney fees. It does not include the EIS, the EIS report, which will eventually come out this summer. I'm trying to figure out if that's an additional thing that we need to
Uh.
pay for.
I think Juliana's going to speak.
Okay.
Yeah, hi.
All right,
Hi, everyone.
Hi, welcome.
So, the authorization is for $100,000. That would include any attorney fees. The attorney has a railroad specialist on, he has engaged, so there's costs for that, as well as any other costs, the PR marketing person that we're having do the website, those costs all go into that, and the 8 communities plus now, once DuPage County comes on board, those costs would be split equally amongst all our communities. As we move through the process, there may be costs that each individual community wants to incur additional costs that are specialized to their area. They're able to do that. This is just a set amount, not knowing what we're going to face going forward, that this is an amount we're asking for authorization for in order to cover those costs as we go through the process. I think, Trustee Bancole, you had asked the question at the last meeting where the $100,000 would come from, and it's not necessarily we're going to spend all of that, it's just that the authorization to be able to, if needed. Our IRMA rate, we had budgeted, and Remy can, I think is there and can speak more to it, but our IRMA rate came in much lower than we had budgeted for, so that is where we would allocate the funds from. As far as the EIS process, I don't know how much that will cost, and I don't know whether that will be able to be absorbed in that amount, or if I will have to come back at a later date and ask for further funding authorization.
Okay. Thank you, Juliana. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Okay. So all 8 communities are each giving $100,000. So we estimate all of this will cost $800,000 in attorney fees and website design and consulting, and is that?
The question was asked when we were all together at the last meeting, how much, if we all wanted to go to our boards once for the remainder of the year, for this year, how much we thought that we would be able to, we should be asking for as part of the approval of this coalition, as well as everybody's having the same resolution and intergovernmental agreement approved. It's all the same language for everyone. So that was the number that was put out there, just given the cost. Our attorneys from Washington, D.C., he has a higher rate, hourly rate, and the assumption is that this could add up very quickly.
Okay, but I guess I'm trying to ask, so there's 8 communities, are we each paying are we each paying $100,000, putting $100,000 into the pot? Are we estimating that in
We have all
total?
committed, everybody is committed and asking their boards to authorize their village managers to spend up to $100,000. Obviously, there'd be a process to review the invoices, et cetera.
Okay, thank you.
okay.
You also said that DuPage County, you mentioned DuPage County, what role would they play?
So they had not, they did not come, they're just taking a longer time, a process to go through, my understanding. And Dave, you can correct me, I think their meeting is next week where they're authorizing to become part of the coalition. If you read the document, their name is not one of the parties of that agreement. That agreement would have to be modified at a later date to incorporate them into it.
Okay, so they've said that they've expressed interest, or this is something that they believe their board is going to
No,
move forward with?
Dan, I met with Dan Cronin,
Okay,
and he said that, Rod, we're going to be there with the municipalities. And that was Friday. I met with him.
oh, last Friday.
And my understanding is there was a meeting today and of the coalition, and in the minutes that I read earlier, they it says that they are having their board meeting, their county board meeting to approve, to discuss and approve it as well.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that additional information. So from what I've read, this is a $31 billion merger, and the line that's being created, or the merger that's being created, is the, and forgive me if I get this incorrect, but the only rail that will stretch from Mexico to Canada? Is that correct? Do you know, Juliana, off the top of your head? It's okay if you don't.
That is correct.
That is correct.
Yes, that is correct.
So if we are 8 communities taking on a $31 billion merger that is stretching from Mexico to Canada, has there been any talk of including other communities to join us in this coalition, given the fact that it's stretching throughout the country? And that we are...
So our main focus at the beginning here has been those communities that are along this line between Elgin and Bensonville, because there is no reason why these freights should be running that line. They're running along that segment just for convenience. Those tracks are in the best conditions, so that's why they want to run them along. They're not stopping there. They're not providing any service along that line. And so our argument has been there's no reason for you to be there. There are other communities that are slower to the process of getting up to speed and have expressed interest. Whether they will join this coalition or just have the same arguments as we go through the process, we'll have to see how that goes. I think there's interest in getting at another tier of, school districts and other entities involved in the fight against this. But again, we're very focused on this line that runs through our 8 communities.
I've also heard from townships that they'd like to pile on, to be supportive. Other entities that are asking the question, and the leaders of our coalition, when they get together, they're having discussions now about how we bring additional bodies in. I think the key component is Metra owns the railroad, and so
Owns the line.
owns the rail line. So they have a lot to say about it. And
Can I ask, what would be the end game that you're seeking to arrive at? How would this be successfully resolved in the eyes of the coalition? What are we looking to?
we want to take a different route, not come through our
Correct.
hometowns.
Correct. Right.
Completely.
That would be the best
Yeah,
scenario,
there's
it
other
would
routes.
be that they would find a different route to get from Mexico to Canada and not avoiding our line through the 8 communities. Second, if they do go through our communities, there are a lot of problems that's going to create, and we're not sure how they'll address those issues that they will create by going through our communities.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions?
Just to clarify a point, you had indicated, you had asked whether or not each community was going to be putting in $100,000 into a pot. I don't believe that's really what the agreement calls for. What it calls for is that the village will be billed by one of the villages that's going to be sort of monitoring all of this. And the village will pay its proportionate share from that billing. The $100,000 is an authorization to the village manager to pay those bills as they come due, but not to exceed $100,000. So if the bills start coming in and they exceed $100,000, then the board would have to authorize more money. That's the way it's structured.
Thank you.
Very good. Thanks, Bernie, for that clarity. Any other questions? Hearing none. Christie, call the roll, please.
Trustee Brigi?
Yes.
Trustee Husani?
Yes.
Trustee Gutierrez? Yes. Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kemper?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Okay. The next one that was removed was 7A8 or 9?
9.
7A9. Motion to approve a contract with Traffic Control and Protection of Bartlett for an amount not to exceed $23,000 for the purchase of sign materials and authorize village manager to execute the necessary documents.
So moved.
Second.
Motion a second. Any questions?
Yeah, it's on. I just had one question. So I was looking at 7A9 and it said that, so traffic control and protection was our only bid. But then I looked at 7A10 and it looks like the fields on Canton Farms Incorporated was also our only bid for these contracts. So I'm trying to figure out, is this, I guess, a normal practice to go with that one bid, or do we maybe extend that window so that we have more people essentially try to, what am I trying to say?
That's my line.
Try to,
Maybe I can,
Have the opportunity.
maybe I can
thank
help you.
you.
Bid on it.
TJ,
Have the
would you
opportu-
address?
Thank you. Or is it usually that we'll just close that window with that one person? I'm just trying to, I guess, learn a little bit more about the process, but also, I guess, maybe just to ensure that we're getting the best product at the best price. And sometimes I think that doesn't happen if we only have one person.
DJ, could you come to the microphone? and
Yes,
speak
sir.
to it?
So first, just to clarify or make sure that we kind of agree on that, we have a window that bids are open, and there's a prescribed, so we determine that window when the bid is placed, and then there's a bid opening at a specific time. So it's not like it's open for a floating period of time. So as soon as the bid is publicly let, there's a specific time that the opening will occur.
Okay.
So what we do is, it actually varies. It's not the same every time. If we receive a bid and we only get one bidder, and we believe that they're a responsive bidder, meaning that we believe that the price is competitive, then in this case, we bring it to the board and say, we believe that these prices are reasonable, and we put it out, and we invited companies to participate. And in some cases, they do choose to participate, whether it's this bid or other bids. In some cases, they don't believe that they can be competitive, or for various reasons, of which they don't often share with us, they choose not to bid. And then they don't. And sometimes we get 0 bids, which you wouldn't see, because then we rebid it. In some cases, we get 1, which is not uncommon anymore. The fact of the matter is, we routinely get 1 or 2 bids. Or in some cases, we'll get 7 or 8. And it's impossible to determine ahead of time. In this case, speaking specifically for this product, there just aren't many competitive companies doing this work anymore. There are many companies that sell this material, and they really sell them to like private apartment complexes, private industries, private buildings. But in the municipal market, because we buy in much higher volume, we pay a lot less. And right now, at least in the Chicagoland area, this is the company that primarily sells to municipalities and tries to get municipal work.
Okay.
So we put it out for bid. I believe last year, if I remember right, we only got 1 bid, and maybe we got 2 bids the year before that. But it does actually vary wildly. Sometimes we go out and try it again. So it's all over the place.
Okay. That makes sense. Thank you.
Christie, call the roll.
Trustee Prigi?
Yes.
Trustee Husani?
Yes.
Trustee Gutierrez? Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kemper?
Yes.
And Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Thank you. 7812, move to approve the waiver of fees in the amount of $15,550 for Al Huda Academy's COVID-19 vaccination events.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second, discussion. Christie, call the roll.
Trustee Husani?
Yes.
Trustee Gutierrez? Yes. Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kemper?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
And Trustee Frigie?
Yes.
Thank you. 7813, move to approve the waiver of all water-related fees to fill the Hanover Park District Seafari Springs Aquatic Center pool for the summer of 2022.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. Christie, call the roll.
Trustee Gutierrez? Yes. Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kemper?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Trustee Frigie?
Yes.
And Trustee Husani?
Yes.
You just made the Park District happy. 7814, move to approve warrant 303, 2022 in the amount of $441,021.31.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. Christie, call the roll.
Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kemper?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Trustee Frigie?
Yes.
Trustee Husani?
Yes.
And Trustee Gutierrez? Yes.
Thank you. 7815, move to approve the warrant paid in advance 2/11/2022 through 2/25/2022 in the amount of $1,036,724.93.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. Christie, call the roll.
Trustee Kemper?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Trustee Frigie?
Yes.
Trustee Husani?
Yes.
Trustee Gutierrez? And Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Village Manager's Report. Dave, are you prepared?
I have no report.
Thank you very much, Dave. And Village Clerk's Report. Christie?
No report.
Thank you. Corporation Council Report.
No report, thank you.
Thank you. Village Trustees Reports. Herb Porter. Trustee Porter.
Just say quickly, we had well, I'll leave that for Trustee Kemper. I was going to talk about the VFW opening, but I'll leave that to a veteran to discuss that. So no report.
Thank you. Trustee Kemper.
Yeah, on Sunday, last Sunday, we had our the VFW Post 5151 officially moved to Hanover Park in the Greenbrook Plaza. It was very well attended. I was in awe of the amount of people that showed up for that. Some of the stories that we heard from the Operation Airlift and the other things that are going on with the VFW, just you could feel the pride of the individuals there that were working those projects. And I was glad I was able to make it and pretty much stay for the whole thing. It was very, very enjoyable. And on with that, this Saturday is our Veterans Committee meeting at 9 o'clock in the PD's community room, and I look forward to being there. And
I look forward to seeing you.
And that concludes my report.
I don't know if you met two ladies from Einstein School, but they had a collection of items to ship overseas for Operation Airlift to our men and women who are in service right now overseas. And you know, we've shipped out so many boxes, and they collected from the school items for that, about 15 or 16 boxes that were really big, and they were both there. Tomorrow morning, I'm bringing some recognition to them and a letter of appreciation, and just marvelous. Our schools are marvelous. We're quite blessed in Hanover Park with the education. Trustee Bancole?
Yes. Thank you. So I have just like a monthly newsletter that I send out just to our residents, just to keep them updated about what I'm doing and you know, upcoming events in the village. And so I'm just going to read a little bit from this month's newsletter in regards to the conflict in Ukraine. So Martin Luther King Jr. once said that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. I believe we are currently bearing witness to an assault of freedom and sovereignty, in the sovereignty of Ukraine. To the many Ukrainians and Eastern Europeans in the Chicagoland area, my prayers are with you and your family. There are two things that I listed that I thought were really helpful. One was just an article, 9 meaningful ways that you can help Ukraine. It was just an article that Global Citizen posted. But if you know, in Illinois, I think we have one of the highest concentration of Polish Americans in the country, right? And then we also, I think I was looking up statistics, and we have over 200,000 Ukrainian Americans in the Chicagoland area. So we have a really, really significant population, and I know so many of them are concerned and maybe have family members abroad. So a couple of things. Just earlier today, Secretary, I'm blanking on the secretary's name, I should know this, but TPS, Temporary Protected Status, was it Blinken? Blinken, thank you. Thank you. Temporary protected status was just granted earlier today for Ukrainians that are in the country. So if they came on a B1, B2, so business visa, tourist visa, student visa, they can stay here. That just happened earlier today. I know that also at the federal level, there's a lot of humanitarian aid that will be going to Ukraine, but also, so if you have friends or family that are currently in Ukraine and they are United States citizens, the State Department will work with you or your family, if they're U.S. citizens, on an exit strategy. They have to fill out a crisis intake form. It's on their website, and so I just think that because we have such a high concentration of Ukrainians and Eastern Europeans in the Chicagoland area, I thought that was important to note.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, it's
Do we have more? I'm sorry. If you pause, I'm running away.
I know. So thank you to Trustee Kemper and to the mayor and to anyone else that was involved in bringing the VFW Post 5151 to Hanover Park. So I missed most of the big celebration. I got there like at 4:55. Like I got there right as they were closing, but I was able to meet Commander Gold and just thank him, and I was just tell him how excited I am that he's in our community, and that this space is in our community. I also want to commend Trustee Gutierrez for her work with the Day of Warmth event a couple of weeks ago. There were a ton of brand new winter coats that were being given away. I'm blanking on the church's name, but on Barrington Road near the fire station. Thank you. That were being given away, and I really just commend you for all that you're doing for our community, truly. Thank you so much for hosting that event. I also recently attended an event. It was not within our community, but I thought this was important to note. So our neighbors in Naperville held an event for the start of an art exhibit which honors more than 300 fallen Illinois members of the Army, Air Force, Navy, and Marines. So this is a display that is currently up at their 95th Street Library. It's up there until, for the next week or so. The event was put on by 2 Naperville councilmen who are also veterans. And then former Lieutenant Governor Pat Quinn was also there to provide opening remarks as well. So it's not necessarily in our community, but it's you know, kind of close by, and I would encourage anyone that might be in the Naperville area to stop by the library and see this really important exhibit.
Thank you.
Oh no, I'm not done. So the Village Center Open House, I was able to attend that, and I really, my hat's off to Shubra and our entire Community and Economic Development Department, the Development Commission. I mean, I was just blown away at the presentation and the visuals. I'm a visual person, and just seeing the vision of our downtown, it really, it filled me with pride. So thank you for all that you do and for hosting a successful open house. I was also recently able to meet with Carol Pye. She serves as a board member for the Schomburg Township District Library. It's a wonderful library. We all know it. It's the second largest in the state of Illinois. We're really lucky to have it so close to us and to serve some of our residents. And so I was able to just learn a little bit more about what they're currently doing. And last but not least, the Hanover, the Environmental Committee finally met. I'm so happy. We finally met. The last time we had met was, I think, in September or October. We finally had enough people to meet. We even had 2 new people. I can't even tell you how proud and happy I am of this. So we were able to just talk about some of the things that we are planning for this year, and just kind of onboard these 2 new members. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll have to remember, you conclude your report, then I'll have to bounce in. Thank you very much. And just since you mentioned the library, Schomburg moved the branch library to Hanover Park due to the work of my wife involved with the Schomburg Library. And as a part of that, this board, this community gave, I think it was $50,000 to have that special room attached. So, little kudos to my wife tonight. With that, I can't imagine. Oh, Syed Husseini.
Bob.
Trustee Husseini.
Bob.
Oh, God. Trustee Prigge, please.
No report.
No report. Trustee Husseini, please.
No report.
Thank you, sir. And that should be Trustee Gutierrez. If I'm going to screw up, I'm going to have a good screw up. So there you go.
I'm going to need 30 minutes. No, when I was 12, my family moved to an area of Chicago known as Ukrainian Village. And I have a very large family. Big family. And we were just adopted by Ukrainian Village. And I became addicted to their baked goods and their libraries and their colors. And so I'm glad you mentioned the TPS status for our Ukrainian brothers and sisters, but also pray for Russia, who I feel whose hands is at times being rattled into this. And I know there's so many people from Russia that we know that are just saddened by this. But please, if you pray for Ukraine. And for there is a children's orphanage there that I support, and we've lost contact with them. So please pray for Ukraine. I do want to let you know that the Historic Committee continues to meet. We're so busy cleaning up and doing good deeds, and our wall of mayors is going to be up soon. We finally found a picture of a Mr. Richard Baker. It's a black and white photo. It's way before my time, but we found it. And so I want to thank Poplar Creek librarian Lisa for getting that up for us, and so that should be up soon. This is exciting. The Economic Development Committee is doing two things that I really like. One is these best seminars, and they are doing a tax and beyond. So if you're a small business and you kept people on payroll during COVID, you can get a tax credit. And this is information that we're going to be giving out at 10:30 on March 8th here for free. So if you're a small business owner, come on in and learn about this and some other stuff. And the second thing, if you haven't followed them yet on Facebook, the hashtag is HP for Hanover Park, HPIL, business. They do Foodie Fridays, which I think is just genius. And they're highlighting all the amazing restaurants we have. And so if you have a restaurant and you want to be featured, we can do that too, right, Shubra? And so I'm just so proud of the Economic Development Committee and the work of our director and what she's doing for our small businesses. Foodie Fridays is a lot of fun, so you've got to check it out. And then finally, I want to say thank you. DEI, Schomburg Township is doing a DEI, and I'm loving the fact that they are signing on with Harper College, and our mayor had something to do with that and connecting. Supervisor Hennigan was on there too. And so what they're going to be doing is they will do a part of their survey on the outside for the Schomburg Township, which includes part of our area. But before that, they're going to do an internal. And I'm loving it that they're going to go and they are going to do focus groups, interviews, and then they're going to, after they do this assessment, internal assessment, then they're going to teach on DEI. And we're working on that as well. So I think it's something really nice, and maybe in the future we can model that. And then finally, I want to thank two team members from the Hanover Park Strong team, Christy and the mayor, because I was broken the day that we gave out 121 coats at the church. It was actually 3 churches that came together to help out. And it was meant to be only on a Saturday to give out coats, and it was very cold that day. I didn't think people would come, and they came out of the woodwork. And at the end, there was a little bit of clothes left, and my back was bad and other things. And Christy and the mayor, I've got pictures to prove it, got the mayor and Christy on the truck, hauling boxes and helping me. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much.
Oh, you're kind.
Thank you. That's my report.
You caught us working, huh?
Yes, I caught you. There's proof. Thank you. That's my report.
Well, thank you. And this board is doing marvelous things in this community, and it's making a difference. And I said that earlier about code enforcement, but we support the work that's going on here. And well done to all. There's no executive session, and next is a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you very much.
I got a little somebody else.
No, this is my daughter. She's going to be